Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. How are you doing? We have a full White House tonight with standing room only. We can be a little bit more excited than that. How's everyone doing? Yeah, thank you very much. Does everyone like the new design of the White House?
Yes.
Yeah. Myself and Dora specifically asked for this setup so we could be closer to the alcohol.
It's upstairs.
Thank you. I know.
Exactly.
We have a wonderful lineup for you all here tonight. Most of you are in the lineup because it's a long lineup, but it's very exciting. But first of all, can we give it up one more time for Cora? And as is White House tradition, we have a beautiful poster of Cora. We are going to hand this beautiful poster around to all of you, along with a pen. Please give us back our pen. It's Cora's pen. It's very nice. And if you would like to sign it, and if you enjoy Cora's performance, maybe just leave a quick little note about what you liked about it. A nice keepsake for her. So I'm going to pass this to our front row, if you'd like to add anything. Thank you very much. So, we are sponsored this month by ourselves. So, hooray! But next month it's going to be back to Poetry Ireland. But we have some fantastic readers, some new people, some of our fantastic regulars, and I'm very excited. And we have one of our most regulars to kick us off, as is also tradition. Can everyone please give it up for Mr. Dominic Taylor?
Thanks a million, Lauren. As most of you know, I published my book there last April, or this April, should I say, and there's nostalgia is in the air after Cora's reading. A lot of the poems are memories that I had growing up, and they were mostly written well before COVID, and I didn't really write since then. But since I published this, I've got a new sort of spurt, so I'm writing more. So I'm just going to read a new poem tonight, and it's a nostalgic piece as well. It's called Comics. I think people of my generation will remember comics were the thing, you know. Yeah. Comics were the currency of our childhood. Coloured pages pressed from hand to hand. Dandy, Beano, Victor, Hotspur. Tales of adventure from foreign shores. We traded these paper treasures in nighttime negotiations, standing anxious at each other's front doors. Any swaps? The question opening possibilities of friendship, betrayal, or fair exchange. Each story read and reread until the pages became worn out by many hands, holding both the hero's adventures and the history of all who held it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dominic. I was a Beano fan, and I have no mention of Andy in this room. Beano all the way. We have a bit of a change in tradition tonight, because for most months we ran this series, our first guest reader of the night was always Dominic Taylor, and our second reader of the night was usually Cora Peters. But
another parishman is up next.
You finally got ahead of Dominic, Cora. It took a while, but we got there. That was the plan all along. So up next, to fill some big shoes, but be well able, please give it up for Ger Sheedy.
It's a while since I've been here, but like all good addicts, it's good to be back at Poets Anonymous. I share something common with Cora. Is from the same parish as me and Dominic, whatever, but also I believe that definitely Terry Murray's spirit is here with us tonight, because I was compelled to come down and read this tonight. I'd heard John W. talking about something recently online, and I got this poem from it, and it's in memory of Terry Murray also, and I hope we'll do as much justice as you did, okay? Okay. It's called Skybound. My friend, I apologise for not being there just before the end, for not being by your side to celebrate you and perhaps to share a verse. I think of you often and pray that yours was not a journey to the bedlam of some Valhalla or man-imagined heaven in the clouds, but to a place of honour amongst the poets and bards in the palace of wine and song. I miss our conversations and how your lyrical soul illuminated my imagination, how your words wove visions into my dreams, my very own sky woman, my street and mountain muse. Thank you. And this is just, I only wrote this the other day, so I hope it's tight enough, as they say. Voyagers, walking along a concrete trail with the noise of traffic intruding on my thoughts when the day becomes excited by this euphoric sight. A warm breeze has freed a swarm of seeds, and they are migrating by the million all around me. Tiny fluffs of hope, immaculately airborne, looking for a chance to grow in our city of brick and stone. Some surround me inquisitively, testing the suitability of my clothes, while others try to take root in my hair. The bravest ones are clinging to the cliff face of a wall, while most fly off in unison, searching for an oasis to thrive. And with my soul unfurled like a sail, I follow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ger. I feel like I'm slightly ruining your quote anonymous idea by loudly shouting out everyone's name before they come up. Well, we got this. Welcome back, Ger, and I hope you don't leave it too long again.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Evan G. Harasaki. Evan here, please give it up.
So hello everyone.
Hi.
My name is Evan. I'm not originally from here, from Ireland at all. I'm from Indonesia actually, and I'm gonna read a poem tonight about how I see Ireland as someone who just not just came here, but like had just been living here for a couple of years. It's called Spun Wheel. In a realm that feels borrowed, where laughter blooms without chains, I wander through streets where the air whispers freedom, one that doesn't belong to me. Children chase clouds, their giggles unbroken. I recall small hands silenced by hunger. Why do their sorrows wear soft edges? Why do their joys stretch so vast? This is a tapestry stitched by another's dreams, its threads foreign to my calloused hands. They speak of escape as though it's salvation, as though I should kneel in gratitude for the miracle of survival. But tell me, what God ordains a heaven where devils feast while angels starve? Their smile says, welcome, be safe, be whole. But my thoughts splinter, fractured pieces left behind with those who wear my faces, who wait in silence and shadow. And there they, with their silver tongues, to mourn comforts I have never touched. Their struggles, like polished stones, gleam next to the jagged shards I carry. Oh, to wear their weights for just one moment, to trade the sharpness of exile for the soft ache of belonging. But this land of open arms is no sanctuary. It is a mirror that twists, showing me not who I am, but who I could never be. And I am a stranger walking through dreams that are not my own. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Evan. That was really beautiful. That was amazing. Now, Evan, I do want to thank you very much for coming all the way from Indonesia. You've been here for a full year, for a few years. I think it's like poetry can be anything, and it's often such a good. It's so important just to tell your story and use that to connect to other people, and that's what we're all doing here tonight. And it's nice to just make the world a little bit friendlier, a little bit more connected. Up next, we have Mr. John Power. Is John here? John is coming all the way from the back. We want to give him a round of applause.
Another parishioner.
Yeah, fourth is it? Give me a sec.
Glasses, yeah. 2 seconds. Hi, nice to meet you. I just have 2 pieces. So this is called a Serenade. The paper mowed. Bear with me a second. The paper mowed along the ground, stopped, sauntered, then took off again. This time rolling in circles until it stopped inside the embankment. Inside the railing, the gravestones waited with their gestures in loving memory, cherish, rest in peace. I wondered about people who had died. What were they like when they were younger? My grandmother, I only ever saw her with a cigarette in her hand and an old face. What was she like growing up? Who did she meet? What did she think about? A gust of wind picked up the paper. It was moving again. Now racing along the grass at the side, but then a mnemonic twist. It flicked backward and doubled forward in free fall, landing on the tarmac. At the end there was a barrier of trees and hedgerows littered with multitude of papers. They floated and moved in the light breeze. The evening sun came down through the clouds and picked out the colours. Now they were vibrant, mixing with shadows and lights. They became seductive and thrilling. If you squinted your eyes, you were watching a performance, a serenade to the dead. Thank you. Just got one word. It's called dream. So, dreams, dreams, dreams. I want to see the red skateboard again. I want to enter the carnival, ride on the Ferris wheel and carousel. I want to throw the white frisbee. I want to see the lady in the shop buy ice cream and lemonade, see the captions on the cinema. I want to hear slot machines, put money into the jukebox, play Friday I'm in Love by The Cure. I want to dance with you under lights and surreal summers where Saturday night is always terrific. I want to look forward and back and see those elevated shapes of light on the wall and think fantastic things like aliens and other worlds. The red sleeping bag, the bunk bed, see the white and blue sneakers, be surprised and hear chips frying in the chip basket. I want to talk about windows, open windows, driving in your car with the wind blowing through your hair. 2 seconds. Bear with me. Where's my assistant? So, I'm surrounded by white noise. The waves have broken in a crescendo. I see shapes of light on the water. Amidst bright afternoon sunlight, I'm on a magic carpet ride. Probably the window in the caravan park. It was like a sleeping dream. Towels hanging on the door, kinda like time stood still, and everything was dripping with joy. You'd hear children playing and laughter. You'd hear laughter. It just felt like everything was beautiful in that window, and somewhere the boys of summer played. And in this other dream I can dance. Who says I can't dance? I can dance!
Thanks so much, John. And John, just let you and anyone else know, if you ever do need an assistant at the microphone, I am available. I am very reasonably priced. Just let me know. Up next, I think we have someone first time in a while, maybe. Please give it up for Grace Sampson.
Hi everyone, this is my first time reading here. I'm from Limerick, on the outskirts. I just got back from living abroad, and I find it's more important what you bring with you rather than what you leave behind. And this poem is just a bit about that, and it's called Voice Messages as a Foreigner. I listened to the voice messages that I sent to my friend in Italy, checking if everything I said has met its desired meaning. Listening back is like checking my hand for my own pulse, as though I wasn't entirely sure before now if I was breathing. I double check everything I said, and I anticipate before he has the chance to reply to me. what this person separate from myself will think of every word, turn of phrase and laugh that dissipated from me like a river at no point of return, and if he holds dear every word that he sends out for emotional delivery from his soul, arriving within seconds to mine. An Amazon package, free of slave labour and anti-Semitic backing. A time capsule that we will not need to bury under soil and wait a patient lifetime before reopening it. We are living, and living is what we have both agreed to do for each other in alignment. There is no expected time of arrival in living.
Thank you so much, Grace. So, as we also like to do in the White House, for any first-timer, I think they deserve one more round of applause. Okay, you were so good, Grace, I thought you were here already. Never mind. So from a first-timer to one of my favourite regulars, though I don't rank our regulars, please don't ask me. Please give it up for Marie Suter.
I wasn't sure what I'd read tonight, but following on from Grace, I think I'll read this. Just say, Cora, you were brilliant, fantastic.
Oh, really, thank you very much.
So there 2 years ago we had some refugees being bused down the country to County Clare. So this poem is called The Vernacular. He wakes from the same dream, snow falling as ashes in streets gasping for air. Men pushing him to sea on a swell of pretenses, swallowing the lives of children, women, men. Hope flickers on the cross-country shuttle. Hills are beacons of firs, towns flash multiculture, though bunting billows county colours. Dawn glares intent on his 3-foot bed, as big-throated tractors rev the vernacular with walls of hay bales. And some of us conveniently forget that our ancestors fled, their escape made easier by skin that slid into the status quo to share the privilege of the dream. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie, as always. Up next to the mic, we have Lauren McNamara. I just want to do a quick one. I was travelling recently in like last couple of weeks in the States, and I realised travelling is really good kind of poetry fuel. So I was on a bus from like California and San Diego, and I just wrote this little poem about something that had happened the day before. This is called The Philosophy of Uber. He drove us to the beach on our one day off. We started to think he had had too much weed, as he told us about how life worked, how he was himself, but could also choose to be anyone else. In 30 minutes, he outlined his thoughts on humanity and empathy. He discussed the idea of a collective being that maintained individuality. He discussed how he feels the world under his feet, and he feels for every ant living on that world. He says, "No one listens to me. I'm just a driver. But I like to talk to people, and sometimes I make them smile." He says he's just an Uber driver. His philosophizing seems sometimes incoherent, but never patronizing. He never mentions religion or any named philosophers, but he thinks deeply about difference and similarity, about the world he lives in. He's just a driver, he says. And for a moment, I think, in another life, he would have been a philosopher. And then I realised that's what he is. And class was in session on the way to Venice Beach. Thank you very much. And up next we have the wonderful Martin Murphy. Is Martin here? Can we give it up for Martin?
I'm a bit worried reading this because everything's been a bit cultural tonight, so this is definitely different. Right. Standing at the bus stop back in 1983, I'd seen this girl I'd fancied, but she'd never look at me. Her hair was red, her eyes were blue, and standing 5'3". Smaller than the ideal height, but it didn't bother me. Turns out a school friend knew her, so I went and made my plea to get me her phone number, put a good word in for me. I had to figure out a way to hold my fragile nerve, to make the call or call it off, kickstart my passive verve. Once I'd plucked up courage, I called from my work phone. I had to do it that way because we had no phone at home. It went, "Hi, this is Martin." She replied to me with, "Who?" "I've seen you at the bus stop and I've been admiring you." "Yes," she said, "I've seen you," looking over as we wait. "But I hope you didn't call me now to ask me for a date." My heart, it sank, this crushing blow she dealt me without knowing. I'm stumbling for some small talk now, I'd have to say I'm going. With a laugh she said, "Just kidding mate, I was messing with you then. Just ask me out and I'll say yes. You scored 7 out of 10. Delighted, I put the phone down, was strutting, walking tall. But it all soon came to nothing when she met a 10 called Paul. So back at the same bus stop, it's now 1984. I've seen another gorgeous girl, and she stands 5'4". Thank you.
Thanks so much, Martin. As always, bringing a bit of fun tonight. Emmy is up next, and Emmy might be soon. I'll tell the story afterwards. Get up ready.
Hi. Microphone's good. I have 2 short pieces tonight. One I started working on last week, and I'm just kind of trying to keep it going. So this was done at a interactive poetry event that I went to last week. Collared Morning. You coo at me, but not with my song, that was given to me with my blood and my bones, with something different, stolen from someplace else. Long, slow notes in the same key I sing in, perched high, filling every space in the air that pollen does not. Now that spring is here, and I am here, and you are here, with that strange, different song, low and sweet, drawn out slow like molasses, also stolen from that place, elsewhere. And you tell me that this song is one of mourning. I do not care that you are not from here. I do not care about you at all. To come from so far and tell me that the notes I sing are wrong. What song was given to you with your blood and bones? Let me hear it. And this one is just in honor of Pride Month. It's short and sweet. I clip my keys to my belt loop, all the way at my right hip, circle around to the pocket to tuck in a handkerchief. I wear my nails long on both hands. Leather circles tight around my neck, 2 fingers barely slip beneath. This does not make me less, because nothing else has yet. We should have pride in everything, even those of us who like to be on our backs.
Thank you so much, Emmy. Emmy might be joining us in Mary I possibly next year. That's not an omen. It's fine. It's fine.
Definitely not an omen.
Well, yeah, I know we have a few Mary I heads here tonight, both past and present. And I'm also wearing a Mary I hoodie. The White House is not sponsored by Mary I, but I'm working on it. Give me some time. Up next, we have the brilliant man who once emceed this whole thing. We give it up for Mr. Tom McCarthy.
Cora, well done. Really enjoyed you.
Thanks very much.
Really enjoyed your reading. And it's nice to see Joshi back again. Many of you wouldn't know him, but he was a very good poet back in the time, and he's still good.
Damning.
I'm going to try a poem called A Quilt of Red Snow. No one was to know how I had befriended the foe on my deathbed. We swapped photographs of our families and talked about Christmas and a quilt of red snow. I don't want to die, he whispered under his breath. I don't want to die alone, he said. I responded with, neither do I. Neither do I. We both shed a tear, shook hands, apologized for having been tricked into hating each other, for having been forced into killing each other. Our frozen bodies carted onto a cascade of broken bones. Never walk on a dead man's grave. 'Tis only the brave that die young. Anyway, I actually one of the girls that read here a while ago, I said she's a farmer's daughter, the poem she read. So I will actually have attempt the farm poem that I know. I'm sorry I didn't bring my book. Have you got a book with me? This is a poem that I'm after opening the page now, and if I really once the page is open, if I can get through it. It's called Jealous of Seamus Heaney, the Pauper and the Prince. My scribbles and my thoughts were no different than those that crossed the mind of Mr. Seamus Heaney, naturally in a different context, through circumstance. My world was as far apart from his as it was near. His education was from boarding school to university. Mine was from primary to Jackson's pawn shop. Two completely different tributaries, one leading to fame, the other leading to an unknown name, both heading for the same reservoir. I was looking at the cooking apples hanging from their branches overhead the galvanized roof of Tommy Cassidy's shed, when hearing the sad news of the passing of one of Ireland's most famed. Like Mr. Heaney's poetry, the branches on the tree never ceased to amaze me. Flourishing year in and year out. Its trunk that branched its sperm is hidden from view, getting no praise or credit for producing the finest of cooking apples to bake or to stew. Unlike Seamus, who soaked up all the applause for his simplicity. I wonder would he have agreed with me when I say that there are no poets, there never was, only interpreters plagiarizing works already submitted by the universe. A practice he himself was good at, digging out the potatoes, cutting the turf, watching his mother bake during the midterm break. He learned his trade, I lived mine. Listen, thanks very much.
And I tell you I was helpful. And I like Tom, so I won't charge him. But Tom was the MC the first time I ever performed in the White House, so I think I have to give him a free pass. Maybe not next month. Up next we have the joint Best McCarthy poet in the room. Can everyone give it up for Kaya McCarthy?
Hello, it's my first time reading here. I'm a little bit nervous. I've never actually read to anyone but my grandfather, so it'll be interesting to give it a go. But this is a poem I wrote about the mother and baby homes, and it's called Our Lady of No Mercy. They crowned me with lilies, but buried my name. Said Mary was meek, so I must be too. Knees bruised in pews that never prayed for me. The priest pressed virtue into my spine like sacraments or sins. I was told to suffer sweetly. I did. In the home they took the child before I could name him. Labelled me fallen, as if the fall wasn't forced. As if shame didn't arrive in a white coat with a crucifix. They scrubbed my skin with holy water until I disappeared. Hung sheets like shrouds, white and stiff as if my body was a contagion to be cured. They made me labour in silence, eyes on the Virgin who never screamed. She just bled, and they called it a miracle. But my blood was a burden, my body a breach in the garden of their order. I am not immaculate, I am not meek, I am not the lie they whispered from pulpits and pulp. I am rage dressed in rosary beads, the psalms that burn in your breath. I am every girl they ghosted into history, every cradle left cold, every scream drowned in scripture. So no, I will not repent. I will not kneel to men who call theft a blessing. Let them choke on their censers, let their altars crack like old teeth. They were never yours to save, only yours to fear.
Karen, thank you so much for sharing. Hope it'll be the first of many times. The McCarthy Poetry Dynasty of Limerick will continue on. And I heard the word first timer there. Up next, from the very, very back, we have the wonderful Miss Beth Dennehy.
Sovereignty. The crushing of a blossom in the hand of no awareness loses the right to decide its own affairs, its own destiny. Look at our history. Visualize the eyes of dead patriots with love and loyalty to their homeland, sacrifice themselves. Where do we stand now? Our sovereignty is being whittled away, cut and carved. We didn't notice the warning signs. We weren't listening. The MSM, mainstream media, played no part in alerting us. Why were they? How long does it take to dawn on people we no longer have a say over our own affairs? When we wake up and find free speech is outlawed, we're already living in a totalitarian state. Our inaction determines the fate of unborn generations. Will they view us as heedless cowards? Remember, our ancestors had the measure of the world, fought and struggled to make life better for us. What we do now counts. Stop complaining. Start the conversation. Let's untie ourselves from the feudalism of foreign powers. What's facing us? An end of nation states, an end of our traditional culture, an end of fair play for the majority, all wrapped up in the distortion of DEI, diversity, equality and integration, pious but entirely bogus aspirations, where democracy is downgraded and ridiculed as populism. Our path, the renewal of sovereignty, take back control of our own affairs, demand accountability, balance of power, prevent government overreach, and above all, decentralize decision making. Let the people decide.
I vote for you.
Thanks very much, Beth. Up next, I think we have someone we haven't had in a little while here. Is Evelyn Casey.
Hi, thanks. Oh my God, it's been so long since I'm here and I'm so nervous down there. Honestly, I don't want to be at the end of the line anymore. I'll tell you, This poem I actually wrote in 2020 or 21. It was about the pandemic. And I don't know if I read it, maybe I did. It was called Alone. It's still called Alone. I just changed a few of the words tonight or today. The pandemic, it's simulated by the rain and lots of rain. And you can change that simulation today to lots of bullets and lots of war. It's called Alone, not to find it. Thank you, Cora, for your reading. It was absolutely beautiful. Oh, thank you. Very kind. And thanks, everyone, for organising this night so long since I was here. Okay, Alone. The heavens opened and spat. Rain poured for weeks and seemed endless, until the world was quiet and still and washed clean of want. All materials known to us were destroyed, decayed, and we cried. Water drenched every boy and girl and forest. We sat alone in the roaring quietness. Outside and inside broken stone walls waiting for the end. We peed against the delves of running water, water pouring in droplets from the heavens. And it rained, and it rained, and it rained. Just one ceasefire of drops, we could save ourselves from destruction, becoming committed to surviving on our own. And if it rained again, but money, and more money, and more money, until humankind was drenched in luxury, and everyone was sprayed like salty white horses, splashing us completely, flourishing each of us with petals of gold, silver, titanium, and diamonds. Nothing would change. We saved from the poverty of our fear and not need kindness, having everything. We would drink the rain of richness, cuddle in the warmth of luxury, each lavish in their own bubble of no desire. Drink wine and eat from the fatted calf, with no will to share or want to give. We would lose our worth and inhale greediness, becoming indifferent, content in our new bubble, and live alone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evelyn, and welcome back.
Thanks.
Come and visit again soon. Up next, we have someone we all know and love. You saw her earlier, sneak peek. Dora is someone who is a wonderful poet. We probably wouldn't be here tonight without her and all of her admin work. And not only do we have Dora, but we have copies of Dora's book that are just €15, which is the same price as a pint in Temple Bar. Everybody please give it up for Dora.
Thanks. I was talking to my mother on the phone yesterday, and she was talking about how they shopped for my childhood apartment, and how her number one criteria was, is there room, where would the piano go? And so I'm reading this poem, which is dedicated to my first piano teacher, Shulamit. And the title is borrowed from Song of Songs. Return, return, Shulamit. I cannot put the jigsaw of your face back together. Growing up, I wanted porcelain plates like yours, to taste little pots of yogurt in glass jars, sit with pillows at my back, clean expanses of mosaic tile trailing under succulents, shelves of assured books, wild Gibran and Geffen drowning out faltering fingers on ivory keys. After lessons, my 9-year-old fingers dug under paleness to find relentless knots even elbows could not conquer. You were a graceful mountain on small heels, a soprano shuffling out disillusionment. My worm fingers unworthy of notice, but your lap always open, even when I no longer fit. I was always 10 to you. First flowers, artificial robin over blushing roses I had to sign for, messenger dispatched especially for me. Twice you granted me center stage, your spray of synthetic curls bobbing by gold balloons, warm words written on a stave, impractical gifts. Later, you grew jealous of male mentors I aimed to please. They followed in your footsteps, the idols of my teens, once yours. The draw of horsehair over exposed strings too strong, the charms of cello and the invocation of ancient text, symbolism, lured me away. When I called again, your voice was a dusty eucalyptus branch, fanning a dried out stream in summer.
Thank you so much, Dora. Having fun?
Yeah!
Indeed, it's my favourite time of the month, every month. Up next we have another one of our great regulars, who earlier tonight told me he published his first poetry book in 1999, and his second one is coming out later this year, which is 26-year difference, 27 years. Can everyone please give it up for the wonderful Mr. Sam Alec?
Difficult second album.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Philosophy. Every species has a philosophy like that. Butterfly and the life and the philosophy I presented in my poem. And my poem name also, Philosophy, about the butterfly. Philosophy. As long time I had a silent curiosity for butterfly. One day I asked that butterfly, could you tell me about your life? You are born with a short life. Even then, you are very impressed for your life. It is how? Please tell us, what majestic do you have? Then butterfly replied, I am butterfly. I am proud of my life. Me always protect my soul from sin, from greed. My fleeting life and my death, it is a glory. I am butterfly. Fearlessly, I am flying across the horizon in the sky. My little life, believe in repose. I pick my death very early, and whatever I do, all for my holy soul. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Looking forward to book number 2. And up next we have some bilingual brilliance with our resident Gael Gore. Can everyone give it up for Mr. Tommy Collins?
I'd have to get that introduction the night I decided not to read in Irish. The end of May was a...
Redo it if you need to.
The end of May was a double anniversary for a couple of important people in my life, so I thought I'd just read a quick poem for each of them. The first of these I think I wrote in 2012. A timely find. A pair of old love letters fell from the front pocket of my bag this afternoon as I packed to move away, still folded as I'd left them over 5.5 years ago, totally forgotten in the dust and debris of everything since, but still crisp and clear and so full of feeling that I had to catch my breath and stop myself from cursing out loud in the name of every emotion I can imagine. Her voice still full of life as I read her words, our unfulfilled promises flooding back all together and then blurring before my eyes. And I think I wrote the second one about 5 years ago. I think it was during one of the COVID lockdowns I wrote it, but this is in memory of my granddad who passed away just over 7 years ago now. Granddad's shed. Growing weary of the work of cutting grass and pulling weeds, careful manicuring of the edges of the lawns, tired of the morning guilt on opening the curtains, fit to curse it all again like Sisyphus at each new dawn, when suddenly I had to let go of my pompous self-pity and let loose a belly laugh to echo around the cul-de-sac, the kind of music that erupts like a fireworks display when a sign of your own kin and kind comes magically back. His name, my name, traced into the doorstep outside the brick shed, in concrete poured and hardened a decade before the birth of his first grandchild. His work signed and dated, just like I'd do, but in the garden. Frustrations reined in and motivation reigning supreme, and half afraid that he's still up there somewhere keeping watch. I looked forward to finishing the tasks, the patient skill of it, refreshed and cheerful, caring for the old man's little patch.
Wow. Thank you so much, Tommy. Just as good in either language. Don't worry. Our next poet, for me, hasn't been here since April, so we only get to have him every second month. So enjoy the next few minutes. Please give it up for Bill Burke.
This poem is called The Neighborhood. Visit the old neighborhood again. Every impulse in creation started there. Listen to the accents while they toil and sweat in the heat stillness. Walk booths clothed as street life unfolds and people of all ages are flirting. Allow the street aromas seep slowly inwards with Mediterranean accordion music. Mingle and follow your path to the park, where immigrants, and migrants picnic and dance. Touch the plastic book covers again, borrowed from all sections, serial numbers and letters labeled. Back and forth home on black speckled sidewalk, with tree root cracks to your basement lair. Listen to the traffic staccato as sirens wail. Watch the ambulance lights flash technicolor on your bedroom ceiling while police motorbikes full throttle burn rubber. All uniforms with grid system streets again, and public transport that follows the grid. Small brick rectangles and cheaper wood frame homes with water sprinkler or handheld hoses, water manicured lawns, and beehive hairstyles and sleeveless dresses are symbols of a jubilant spring to summer. Tuck-pointed brick apartments again on one-way streets and guttered alleys, always looking for the shade at midday, especially around the tall square school buildings or large development lots, where families nest in a melting pot, skipping boundaries when falling in love or eating tomatoes from the Italian's backyard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. We're looking forward to hearing you again in August. Up next we have...
You must be magnetic, Dan.
I am magnetic. Up next we have a man who was once described to me as Mary I's unofficial poet, and I took that personally. But I've also heard very, very good things. Can we please give it up for Mr. Stephen Bond?
So I'm just going to read one poem. It's called To Palestine from Ireland. Those British boys that killed your kin refined their art on my ancestors. After we spread meal for a king under poppies in Flanders fields. A great-grandfather on my father's side, being an animal was herded in a barn, where his eyes were warmed with candle wax, melted just for the occasion. On my mother's side, they plied their trade with pliers on a pile of teeth, encouraged from my grandfather's face, above his thankful, mangled fingers, for they schooled us well, those civilized men, in the courtesies of culture. No one said, so I dared not ask, what happened to our women? Left alone, I suppose, sipping tea by the stove. For what use were women and girls to the finest constabulary force in the world, to those young boys, soon to be gentlemen? In 22 they left Ireland for far Jerusalem, with clubs of sacred blackthorn root seasoned by our skulls. I read of one of the Nablus Brigade, at the jubilee pride of his grog-blossomed face, his cigarette can half full of the brains of something not quite human, with a skin that was other than pink. 100 years later, the pistol-armed drones teach Palestine's children how to share by giving their heads one bullet each in a game of collateral damage. And the news machine says human shields are why innocents die on the battlefield, not 2,000-pound guided bombs we drop onto 2 million people. They called us animals, terrorists too. We suffered the famines in an abundance of food. How could we not fly your flag for you, knowing the things that oppressors do, that oppressed can't bear to speak of? And what use are women and girls to the most moral army in the world, to those young boys, soon to be gentlemen?
Stephen, I was kind of hoping you'd be bad at taking the Stephen, is that your first time reading at the White House?
Well, it's been a few years, but no.
Maybe we'll have a first time in a long while, Ron. So, from one Stephen to another Stephen, can we please give it up for Mr. Stephen Rowe?
So, I actually haven't brought a book in a while, so I started writing in this one as another few bits and pieces, but this one's about memories, and it's called Cherish It. Sitting down by the riverside, bound by thoughts on my mind, rushing water, making everything flow, watching my memories, skipping across like stones. Broken dreams, silly poems, on my knees making tomes, trying to describe what's in my mind, trying to ignite my memories and bring them back to life, made into words that can be read or even heard inside your head, in hopes that the memories will swirl to life and bring you out the times you cherish in your life. I can see them growing within your eyes, moonlight glistening among starry skies. Cherish those moments, cherish those times, because they are what's left. Cherish what's left behind. Cherish those times, cherish it and smile. Right, and on to the electronic book. This is a very short one, so it's called Be Close But Distant. Push and pull, twee and la, give and take. Love and hatred, dark and light, order and chaos. Broken and mended, fall apart and rebuild. Falling, falling, falling. Stop, you're here now. Rise, rise again. Go back further, return stronger, fall again and again and again. Watch as you get stronger, more beautiful, more you. Close the distance, get closer. Get more distance in order to be closer. Be close, but distant. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stephen. No many poets left now, unfortunately. And up next we have, I think not a first timer, but a second timer, perhaps. Can we please give it up for, I still don't know his last name, so he's like Beyonce, give it up for Matthew.
Good evening, everyone. For everybody's clarification, my second name is Legutki, which would be Polish origin, but I'm originally from Slovakia. So it's a very solemn mode here today, so I'm not going to disappoint. I'm going to follow with that, with reflection on the book that I read on the Battle of Passchendaele, or Third Battle of Ypres in 1917. So was probably the most painful stuff that I ever read, and you know what? I think that name of the poem Pointless really does it justice, so I probably just get on with it. So Passchendaele, what a name. Anybody who been there must be insane. Passchendaele, Gelwell, Zonnebeke, hearing those names make me weak. Third Battle of Ypres, what a hell. Almost no one made it out alive and well. Artillery, death and mud still hits me like a big thud. Buttons, trench knives, barbed wire clubs. In this warfare there are no ups. Modern warfare is all they said. Most of the involved are now dead. 1 million casualties is all it took. Everyone nowadays should take another look. 3 months, all those dead. What a future those million could have had. Kitchener-Haig thought otherwise. Time has proven none of them was wise. Creeping barrage taints the inventions, only show their regardless intentions. 3 months, 1 million dead. What a shame. Unfortunately, all is gone now in vain.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Actually going to Poland next week. Very excited. Up next we have our penultimate poet of the night. They are a UL graduate, not a Mary I graduate. But UL is a lovely place to study too. Just not Mary I. Can we give it up for the phenomenal Maeve?
I was like, who's the...
I mean, you signed up.
I did sign up, yeah.
Thanks so much. Nice and a pleasure. I was not planning on leaving the house, and a friend of mine who is an artist and not a poet yet, but who knows, maybe after tonight, she was like, do you want to go to a poetry reading? I was like, oh yeah, definitely. So it's good. It's good to be reminded to get out of the house and out of your head. So I did a poetry reading in Ennistimon, and I did charity event for ActionAid's work in Gaza, and I thought I had that poem, but sure, look, we'll just start with a different poem. So anyway, this is a poem I wrote called
How would you spell that?
There's no place like home. Take me to those poppy fields that are good to sleep in forever without shoes. No red ruby slippers for me, thanks. Yesterday I heard on the radio, inside my brain, there's a plastic spoon. Maybe all that processed food will keep my corpse from rotting. Maybe that new software will let me release my wetware. Where were we? Oh yeah. If I was given the option to let it all go, computational re-embodiment, upload my soul onto a little stick, shit, I'd probably do it. Scooping up fantasies, ones where we live forever, you and me. Flesh and blood are obstacles to overcome. You know, wars aren't ever won when the ones starting them aren't the ones fighting. Why don't we get our spoons in order and put the CEOs of ExxonMobil in a pit with Trump and Putin. Lube them up and watch them fight over the last piece of power.
Thank you so much, Maeve. And we are on to our final poet of the evening.
Is it all because of the last person?
They're reading. Jesus. Up next, and I hope I heard Stephen's whisper properly, we have Ian Dillon.
Oh God, it's me.
Ian, oh my God, it's me Dillon.
No, that's terrible. I didn't realise it would be me. I'm a first reader, so apologies for ruining your evening, but let's get through this. So, first time reader, I'll probably lose my track, but it is what it is. So this poem is called O Time, and it's about time. So, O time, you gentle thief, you leave too much and take too little, and I left here to endure the red roar of 1,000 summers, and more besides what came before. And I left here to surmise the fading lights of my father's eye. Whole walls grow heavy with the hours, learning to be ash by and by. O time, you gentle thief, you take all I took for granted and more besides. My memories naught but dreams, mere shipwrecks on the shore, reclaimed nightly by the seas for 1,000 years or more. My life esteems long since lost in the great old long ago. O time, you gentle thief, your confession was foretold in all that went before, and yet the sharp breath of the not yet, and still the sameness of the turning day, and now the stillness of our wait, measured in hours and blood, alone in hospital gardens at the edge of every world. O time, you gentle thief, you take all and everything save the whitewash of good grief and hallowed dreams of being somehow farther than being. After all which came before, the contracts of day's end, those long hours still to come, in the dark light of the womb, yourself.
One surprise bonus poet before we finish up. Please give it up for Friday McMahon.
Good evening, everybody. It's my first time down here. I was on the beach in Ballybunion a while ago, and I wrote a poem while I was sitting on the beach, and it goes like this. Ballybunion, I love you since I was a child. Your towering cliffs, your waters clear, your beaches sandy and gold all mean so much to me. Just to sit on your beach and gaze across the shore. In the distance I can see the lovely hills of Clare. A boat or two go slowly by, while I caress the sun and I dream of days of yore. Now the air that comes across from Clare is perfumed with the breeze. It is soft and warm, and it gently caresses me. The people here are friendly, they bid you the time of day. There's nowhere else I long to be than my beautiful Ballybunion Bay. Thank you.
The musician is running late, so we're going to have one last final bonus poem. And give it up for Mr. Edward O'Dwyer.
Eventually it will be the last poet. But,
like reading at Glastonbury, thanks to Cora, but that's the audience. And Tom was talking about Seamus Heaney a while ago. I don't want to say too much. I know Dominic was on the piss with Seamus Heaney before. But yeah, like when I think about the tea towel poets, Ireland's tea towel poets, like I like a few of their poems, but I could take or leave a lot of their stuff, a huge amount of their stuff. But there's one of them. I don't know if he's going to make it onto the tea towel, but he should. Paul Durkin, and so Paul Durkin died last week. For those of you who don't know, but what I love about Paul Durkin, I suppose, is that he's not boring. And let's be honest, a lot of the tea towel poets are very boring poets. If we're calling a spade, they're very good poets, but they were boring a lot of the time. Paul Durkin was never boring, and I don't really go for writing about poems about poets who've just died. I'm allergic to it, but I didn't set out to do it, but it just kind of happened. Huh?
Do you know what printer?
Paul Durkin read at a festival in Limerick with Caroline Duffy years ago, so those of you who are kind of here from the golden days of the White House, you'll remember it. So Cuishla International Poetry Festival, driven by the marvellous Bertha McCullough. So you might remember that reading. People like Ger, people like Tom, Dominic, you remember.
Remember Barney coming in, yeah? Remember Barney coming in the middle of it?
I don't, but I've edited him out. But Durkin has a magnificent poem about giving a poetry reading to an empty room, and it's kind of a riff on that poem. It's called "On Giving a Poetry Recital with the Poet Laureate." The engagement was to recite for half an hour each at the Aigsha International Poetry Festival in Limerick, and he did, and he gave it his all. And he went 5, maybe even 7 minutes over and into the Poet Laureate of the UK's time. And as he did, she sat and sucked a lemon for all the crowd to see at the sold-out Belltable Arts Centre. I'd never seen someone so full to the brim with life through the sharing of poetry. And he was like some sort of saviour, doling out morsel after morsel of poem to a famished audience that would have eaten it from his hands, understanding it would never again be so good, so rich, so plentiful, that poetry must then become a thing of diminishing returns. It was the most terrific feeding in all of Ireland since the arrival of the Quakers. While each of us there filled up with his light, the Poet Laureate was wilting like a rose beyond season, the edges of her petals fraying, falling in upon themselves. Darkness set in around her as the light all flew moth-like to him, and I was aware of, yet remained untouched by her despair, wanting no part of it, wanting only to carry on feeding at his feast. His star was so much brighter, casting its glow over the galaxy of the auditorium. I would have happily sat in its buttery hue for the full remainder of the evening, she fading and slumped in her well-appointed chair, shuffling the papers in her hands, deciding which poems she'd have to leave out now so that the evening might finish on time. Thank you.
We have poets, and the next poet is poet. No. Thank you all, everyone, so much. Just say very quickly, you're very welcome. Before we finish up, thank you so much to the White House. Thank you to Dominic, Mary, and Dora, who couldn't do this without us. Next month we have the wonderful Jessica Brown. Please come back. Shockingly, the first Wednesday series will be happening next month on the first Wednesday. Do come along, it'll be fun. And so we have like a quite low clap for a second. Would you do a little bit of clap? I want to very quickly keep it going. Thanks. Dominic, Ger, Evan, Captain, John, Billy, Freeman, Jenny, Tom, Maria, Beth, Evan, Tommy, Bill, Stephen, Matthew, May, Ian, Hardy, and Edward, and most importantly, Cora Peters. You have been wonderful. Myself, Dominic, and Dora's books, and most importantly, Cora's books are for sale over here if anyone's interested. And see you all next month. Good night, everybody.
Hold me closer now, like the first time here in the candlelight, dancing bright. See my tender lips, lost in dreams tonight, while my tearful eyes touch the stars. Let this moment stay like a melody, close enough to be in love. Moonlight fills the room, jazz notes softly play as we slowly sway side by side. Let this moment stay like a melody, close enough to be in love.